Alright, we getting ready? Alright, sweet. So, here, let me just change the loadout real quick. So, yeah. Lakeside is pretty simple. Most of the time, you're either gonna be rotating. This is where it differs between team to team. Personally, some teams will like to go cave for a mid-fight. Some teams would like to go main for a mid-fight. Either way, it's the same or it's a little bit different, so I'll go through each. Teams normally go through cave in order for you to get fastest whips and heals and all that sort of good shit, all the way over to pool or bath or whatever you want to call it. When you're peeking, don't peek this way, unless you're really wanting to, you know, peek into this angle, peek out like this. For me, instead, I like to go straight out over here because this gives me the opportunity to jump in as soon as possible, just deal damage as soon as possible. Most of the mid-fight either consists of you playing back here waiting for stuff to happen, or you being in making stuff happen. And with that, there's different angles that you need to consider. There's always the option of people helping you or not helping you through main. Or not through main, through the entrance of bath. So people on point, people walking in, people just seeing that you're an available target, so like sniper on bats, for example. And of course, you have to be aware of people who are just rushing in from their ruins, not their bats, sorry. Yeah, just exclusively their ruins. The heavy also doing the same, if not playing back. Their soldier also maybe might do the same. If not, he's just gonna bomb in. Their sniper is especially a big hassle because no matter what situation, if you see a sniper in ruins and you're not already in pool, chances are you're just gonna die. So, to mitigate that, you're gonna have to either push through while he's, you know, re-scoping or anything like that, just claim room if you can, or you have to wait for somebody to deal with him and then you walk in, or you just play over here and wait for something to happen, maybe play buffs and play point. But generally, you want to be controlling bathhouse with a number of people. Engineer, scout maybe, soldier definitely. Just that trio of people really, really, really need to be helping you. Another important thing is just maintaining bathhouse control, playing in the pool itself. Some people will do this for the mid-fight. I've seen some heavies just, as soon as they get whips, they rev all the way over here and try to take the fight like this, which is really weird, but it's also another thing that people need to consider. If you don't have good water like I do, like I don't have good water, you can't see anybody. Sweet, can you go under there for a second? Even with this kind of water setting, I am not able to see Sweej at all. Maybe this is because of DX level 8, maybe this is just because of me having bad water settings, but yeah, this is just something that you're going to have to worry about. Thank you, Sweej. Just turn that up all the way, make the quality as great as possible, and you're going to have a much easier time fighting pool. But, the biggest thing that you need to consider, what are you doing afterwards? If you win pool, that's one thing. What do? Best thing to do for a mid-fight, fight point from pool. You can either do it very close, like so, hugging this right side wall, maybe even jumping up and trying to walk into them. That's the entire game plan there. Or, you take it slow, bide your time, just help your team. Maybe you can allow them space onto point, that way you can shoot them better. But generally speaking, you gotta be prepared for anything, so be on the lookout for that. Pushes and mid-fights are pretty similar when it comes to fighting pool, so I'll just talk about all three of those, or all of those right now. For pushes or holds, it really does depend, but if you're playing passive for a hold, you're kind of just preventing them from getting space inside. For pushing, it's more or less the opposite. You're waiting for them to get out of pool for you to take space. You're waiting for an opportunity. If they're playing close, like if they're playing over by the torch, for example, if a soldier's playing up by whatever the fuck this contraption is, then, yeah.
People call it scaffolding.
Scaffolding? That's way too fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
I mean, it kind of is what it is, though, no?
I know. Alright, so scaffolding. It is scaff. We'll just call it scaff. Fuck it, whatever. Yeah, if a soldier's playing scaff or a heavy's playing close on either side, it's going to be very hard for you to peek in, try to win that fight. But there is a chance that you might just be able to do it. If their heavy's playing over here, chances are, if he's not playing with his team in this area, he's playing alone, they're gonna get buffs. Or they either might be getting buffs or might not be getting buffs. Plus, you also have the availability of your spy, you have a sniper who's able to tag along with you, you have another person, engineer, wildcard. There's a couple of ways that you guys can try to fight this, but the best way that you can do it, they're not overhealed, you're overhealed, or you have a better overheal, and you push in together. You also gotta be aware of where their sniper is. If their sniper's playing bats, if he's playing obby, this then becomes a little bit... Maybe it's a bit trickier, maybe it's a bit easier for you to push in, try to get something done. If the sniper's playing obby looking for you, that's really, really, really fucking hard to try and push, especially since he's got that dominant position. He's just able to scope in, preventing you from doing anything. While he's hidden, he's able to do whatever. His team, by proxy, is just sitting over here doing whatever as well. In fact, this heavy might even be able to bait if he knows his sniper's going to win that HVH for him. But yeah, generally speaking, pushing into pool is a bit hard. If it's just the soldier, if it's just the heavy, if it's just the sniper. You can definitely push on your own accord, play your own game if you can. But most of it just comes down to team synergy. If you're pairing yourself up with an engineer and a soldier, chances are you win some of those exchanges if you get fully buffed and you peek together at the exact same time. Sometimes you die, and that just happens. So, what are you doing in these fights? Are you aiming for the soldier, or are you aiming for the heavy? Personally, the soldier, unless he's like directly in my face or I can shoot him before this fight happens, don't really worry about him. The main threat is where this heavy is and how you're going to be able to deal with him. Because he can not only hide here, he can not only hide here, but he can hide in the water like so. And it becomes really hard for a heavy to be walking in to deal with everybody in pool when this heavy is in the water, and chances are people are not going to be able to see him because they have their water settings way too low. So it's an advantage, it's a disadvantage. Please turn up your water settings like I should have done to prevent any of that from happening, or to better prepare yourself when that happens. There is a chance that the heavy just hides in the water and then peeks when his team is calling him in. And even still, the only way that you can see that heavy is if you have high ground. As soon as you're peeking over here, you're giving the heavy what he wants. So, what do you do there? You ask your soldier to shoot the pool. I shit you not. Can you go into the water for a second?
Yeah.
If I hear a heavy revved up, but I don't know where he is, my soldier's gonna just be looking for him, right? He's going to be shooting a variety of different places, but the most important part is this health pack area right here. This heavy's playing in the water, so any single shot I deal to him is going to be a big, big, big disadvantage for him. And if he's hiding in the water, that gives you a chance to go up, and if you have good water settings, you're going to be able to see him, shoot him down, and that's a one fight for you all.
Wouldn't you also like head glitch versus head glitch like this?
No. If you sit in this area, you're gonna die, because the sniper is gonna rotate over to ruins, people are gonna be able to walk into you if you're just sitting in this area waiting for something to happen, and that's not even including people who are just gonna be walking in from point as well. Sorry.
And what if the heavy plays scaffolding? Like, isn't this kind of losing for you?
No, it's losing for him, because again, we can just shoot him before we're even able to peek ruins, which is really good for us. Like, all I need to do is do that, get an arrow, get a buff, and then do the exact same thing. And you have to run away, or you have to take the pool pack and just fight. You know, it's gonna be bad for the heavy in the pool. But notice, that's a mistake on his part, right? That's not necessarily something that you should be doing every single time unless you want to do something different. Unless you want to try and, you know, get a read on what they're going to try and do. Because essentially what they're picturing, if they're trying to send a heavy over to scaffolding, they're not going to see me, and they're going to walk the exact same way that they would if I were playing normal, right? So they're going to be paying attention to these corners, they're not going to be paying attention to scaffolding. The only problem with this, though, it's so easy for people to see you. Which is why soldiers, when they are playing scaff, they're playing on top like this. Just because they're going to be able to splash rockets onto you guys, and he's generally more mobile so he can back off if he needs to. and a heavy is just more commitful of a class. So, playing these tight angles where you need to peek into him while his teammates are by him and they're able to support whatever he does. That's what the heavy excels at in pool. So, for offense, it's being able to exploit that heavy. One of the best ways for you to do that. Can you go over by torch for a second? If I see that you're by torch, right? You're gonna be able to do a whole lot of damage to me. Start shooting me for a second. Yeah. As a soldier, not much I can do except aim for the head. That's the only thing that I can really do. As a heavy, you might be able to take the angle. I still need to play a lot of this map, so let's just see how we're gonna be able to do this.
+1 stock. This isn't ideal, but
I know, but it's good for locating where a heavy is. This is also another reason why if you are playing pool more consistently, you do not play with minigun. But yeah, I'm trying to fight this heavy. I'm playing over by the right side. I'm going to be able to try and challenge him or do whatever I can. If not, maybe the idea, because I know he's playing close over here, try taking it close instead. But it's also just trying to figure out what this heavy is trying to do and trying to play accordingly. Like, can you go back up to torch for a second? This is only if a heavy is playing aggressive when he's ready to shoot into you. If I'm another heavy, I'm thinking, oh, okay, you know, maybe I could just do whatever and see if I can get some sort of advantage. Maybe I can do that, kind of bide some time. Maybe I can go over here, eat a sandwich. He needs to get a sandwich or, you know, get a buff, so it becomes my game now. I'm playing what I'm doing. And then, of course, I could try to take this fight however I want to with the people on my team. And that's not even counting, hey, what is my sniper doing? Is he on ruins? Hey, sniper, let's go over here. And then he just shoots your face. So, heavies should not be playing here all the time unless people are called that they're going to walk here. What heavies do instead is hide over here waiting for you to peek. And that's when they walk up, and that's when this becomes really powerful for him. That's something that you're not going to be able to control. And that's something that he's going to try and control with his teammates. Whether that succeeds is up to him and the rest of his team's synergy. So, you can't really read for that. You can't really aim for something like that. The only thing that you can aim to get consistently are calls, and you're playing with your own team. Like, synergy with your own team. So, with that being said, how do we deal with these guys? On either side. Playing over here is a bit harder for defense to... really hard for the people walking into... sorry, my bad. A heavy playing in this position right here is going to have a harder time dealing with people over here, as opposed to people walking in while he's playing over here. The reason being, his teammates are already with him, right? His teammates are already walking in, or maybe they just have a sight line over here. Playing over here just allows you to play with your team more. Playing in the back over here not only allows you to be spotted sooner because people can see you from bridge, but you're more isolated from your team. You're not going to win this fight. Even if you do have the same kind of head glitch that you have. The heavy can just back off as soon as I do some damage. All he's aiming for is damage onto me to force myself out of the position in order for me to get over to torch, or maybe I can play the health pack, maybe I need to eat myself, or maybe I need to get a buff as well. So, a lot of this just comes down to sorry, my bad. A lot of this comes down to just seeing where that heavy is and trying to deal with him. Of course, all of that is thrown into the jeopardy as soon as the sniper goes ruins. So, as soon as the sniper is playing ruins, trying to see what you're doing, because this is the only way through pool that you can realistically get to, because the other team is holding it, you're going to want to send your sniper over to ruins. You're going to want to send your spy to dealing with that person. You want to send your soldier behind, people behind, to start dealing with that sniper, because he is really important on this map. As soon as you deal with him, or as soon as he's called in another position, that's when you should be making these plays. If he's playing by ruins, might be better for you to hold this area. And when I say hold, I mean hold. Not so much peeking into pool, but just being prepared for people to walk out. Because there will be times that playing aggressively over here is the best play that you can do for your team, or is something that you can do if you feel like playing aggressive. But no, it is not always the best play. It is a good play sometimes, but not always the best. Alright?
Yes!
Cool. So, be careful with this fight. It is losing for y'all unless you guys plan something together and you guys play accordingly. He plays over here. He's not looking at people in the doorway. He relies on other people. If he's playing by the torch, he's easily shot at by other people. He needs to back up, grab the pack, and that's when you guys need to walk in. If he's playing in pool, ask your soldier. Shoot this part of the health pack. Or the platform for the health pack. If not, if you're pushing alone and nobody else is dealing with anything other than you and that heavy, you're gonna have to kind of just be careful walking in. Because if you're the only one walking in, it's going to be worse for you if he has some sort of advantage. In this case, having cover, having a head glitch, having a health pack right behind him. With that being said, like I said, what do you do when pool's cleared? Or what do you do against a passive team who likes to play on the outside? The number one thing, spam these guys out of the doorway. If they are playing over here waiting for you guys to get something happening, the easiest thing for you to do is kind of just to shoot the heavy, shoot the soldier, get a buff, try to do what you're trying to do, but a little bit faster. Maybe you send a sniper over to clear that heavy so he's conditioned to not play in that area. Maybe you have a soldier splash that area so the heavy's not conditioned to stand there. There's a couple of different things that you can do to prevent this heavy from staying in this area. But that's not going to prevent him from walking in if he sees it fit. And if he does, that's when you also need to be aggressive. If they are playing passive, you should be motivated to walk in. And if you're playing passive, they're going to be motivated to walk in and hold space, keep space. You need to take space. There's a difference there. Any questions so far?
Нет!
Alright, cool. But yeah, generally, if they are playing passive, it's going to be much easier for you to just beeline it straight onto point if you want to do something fast.
Many thanks!
Because remember, it's kind of like a mid-fight for product, for example. This is connector, pretty much, but this entire... Sorry. I should have thought that analogy through. Because it's not really like connector. But this entire area encapsulates flank. Right? This is the flank. And you play it like you would maybe a product mid, or maybe you have to play it like what it is, a pool mid. So, if you see that they're playing passive, that's going to allow you more opportunities for you to walk in with your soldier to get something happening on point. And this is when you play aggressive. This is when you try not to take damage. If you want to deal with them ruins, that's fine, but you're not going to want to walk in willy-nilly. You need to have some sort of strategy. And having information, having people who can prevent these guys from sitting in this area is going to make it a lot easier for you guys to deal with them. All good, all good. But yeah. So also, sorry, I'm a little bit sick, but I'm also really tired. Plus, I'm also coughing a lot, so the recording might be a little bit bad. And for those watching, I'm sorry about that. I also don't know the map as well as other maps, so this is just going off of what I've been, not so much taught, but just what I recall. With that being said, what do you do when you're holding pool? What's the kind of idea? Like we talked about beforehand, you play this spot just to kind of gauge people, or just to kind of help people, sorry, my bad. You play this spot to be ready for their aggression. You play this spot to deal with their aggression. And you can play deeper into their entrance to pool, if you want to kind of deal with their lack of pressure, to allow yourself to walk in, try to get something done. It's a more proactive play, and it's not based off any reaction, it's just you doing what you want to do. Again, this might not be the best play in sometimes, but other times it might be the best play because they're not prepared, and you're able to get some picks, and you're able to get right behind their team with your soldier who's able to bomb in. Maybe you have a sniper playing with you ruins, so he's able to get onto their ruins and snipe from there. But those are all really, really, really aggressive strategies that don't end up working because you rarely ever get them. Or your team just doesn't have the opportunity to get them as much as other plays. So, what does that mean for you? You holding aggressive? You just need to be aware of what you're able to do and what they are trying to do as well. if you see that they are playing to do a bunch of damage to you before the push happens, right? The best thing that you can do is to try and get a buff on point if your team is playing aggressive on point. Just be mindful of a sniper on bats. But the other thing too, ask for people in pool. Ask for a soldier. Ask for a sniper on ruins. You are not the only one who should be playing pool, and if you are, something is terribly wrong, or you're convinced that playing in the water is the greatest play, which you're wrong. It's really not, because Splash in this area just completely annihilates you, and if you try to aggress, they're just able to kill you, assuming they have better water graphics than you do, and that's the entire other thing too, but we won't get into it anymore. So, the entire mindset should not just be to bait them in, because if you're allowing them to walk in, you're allowing them to take space, and you're allowing them opportunities if you're not prepared for them. So, the best thing that you can do, ask for information, or get some yourself. Sometimes you need to be playing aggressive like this, just to get information. Sometimes you can crouch behind the spotlight. If you stand right behind it, maybe you can play off the not the spotlight, the torch, sorry. Maybe you can play by the torch just to see if you can get information. And then you can play as aggressively as you want, as passive as you want, and play to your own strengths, which is something they can't do because they're trying to push into you, right? Does anybody have any questions so far? Because I'm probably explaining this in a bad way.
It's not possible!
Alright, sweet. But yeah, there's a couple of things that you can do for information. Like I said before, you could play this like this, just seeing if they're gonna walk into you that way, and then so, which honestly, I might. This head glitch is powerful, right? Like, you're able to avoid a whole bunch of damage, but they're still able to shoot into a general direction, and chances are you're not crouching every single time. So if a soldier and a heavy shoot you at the exact same time from this spot, it might be worse. You playing over here gives you information and control on how you want to fight this. But again, because you're playing passive, they get this spot, they're gonna shoot at you. I see how this becomes an issue. Okay. But like I said beforehand, you're not playing alone. You're playing with a soldier. You're playing with somebody. Anybody. Maybe ruins. There's a sniper in ruins and they're helping you. Maybe there's a soldier in pool playing scaffolding, but not on top of scaffolding, but like playing nearby it. So they're just spamming ready to peek whenever you're ready to peek. And that's something that you could do too. If you know that they're playing passive, they're not prepared for anything, your soldier gives you whiffs, you're playing right next to him, you guys are looking around both corners because you want to be safe, because sometimes the heavies will stand over here, and when you're walking in, you just die. So, you guys are aware of who's in the corners, who's able to peek you, who you're able to peek towards, and just general other game plan stuff. But what if you're forced back? What if you're forced to play over here? Well, the number one idea is for you to see what you can get away with. If you can sit over here for a little bit and then walk into pool, just fine, maybe that's the play. But that's only contingent on the fact that they are playing passive, or they're giving you a lot of room and they're not doing nothing about it. What are they going to do instead? Like we talked about beforehand, they're going to try spamming you from this doorway. If you're able to sit in this doorway, you're going to win. If you're not able to sit in this doorway, you allow them to walk in, and that's a loss. And if you're forced to play all the way in the back, like we said before, you are defending their aggression if they choose to take it. And you do so, my best way to do so, probably playing around this body glitch. Because you're able to see what they do, you're able to back up if you need to, and then you're able to just fight this however you want to. You could drop down. If it benefits you, you can play up there if it benefits you. But keep in mind, you are giving them what they want because they are looking to push in and cause a distraction. That soldier, he's going to be able to bomb into you while you're dealing with that heavy. So again, you should not be the only one watching this. A soldier should be helping you out. But even still, if you're playing defense, you should not be in that area more times than not. If you choose to play here, you are losing. So once you get the opportunity to walk back into pool, and nobody's playing bats, so no sniper can kill you, no spies can try to stab you, that's when you have to walk in and take space back. And going back to offense for a little bit, as soon as you see them trying to do the exact same thing by holding this angle, try doing the same thing as well. Try seeing if you can shoot their heavy a bit more so he's forced to back up. As soon as he's forced to back up, you're able to walk in. Maybe you grab the pack, maybe you play in water if you want to. But you're being aggressive so you're watching this side of ruins, or you're playing towards point. Those are the two ways that heavy can be aggressive on this map from flank. With that, there's one more thing that I have not talked about beforehand, for offense or for defense. What do you do if my team is holding inside a pool? Or, what do I do when my team is pushing pool? If my team is pushing pool, there's not much that I need to do besides just making sure that they are not going to die. If a heavy's in the corner, if a soldier's bombing, if a spy is trying to stab them, if a sniper's trying to peek them, there's nothing that you can really do about that. But you're trailing them. If they're walking in with an Uber, and, you know, you're not walking into their Uber, this is assuming that they're playing on point, and you guys are playing in with an Uber, you trail behind them, or you wait for the Uber to end, and then peek once you're done. Mainly because they should only be taking Ubers into this area if they are also in this area as well, which we'll talk about now. If you are playing with your team, and your team has Uber ad, because that's the only situation where this should be played at. Well, no, not really, sorry. If you're playing in pool with your combo has even or ad. Uber. If they're playing with disad, you were going to get walked at and you were going to die. So, how do you hold this? If they're holding by pool, if they're holding this entire area, just watching for people in bridge, watching for people ruins, your main goal is to fight people on point should they be there. You are peeking for information, you're just seeing if people are going down bottom left, or bottom left. Checking for sniper bats, which is why you should not be playing this close like this. You should be playing wide, or you should be playing wide out over here if you need to, watching out for spies, watching out for anything really, but the most important part, aggression bottom left, because then that's when you rotate over to this side to hold it, because they're going to be holding this area like so. Any questions? Because that's pretty much all there is to it when it comes to pool. Besides one last thing, if you need to leave, the best thing that you can do is kind of help your team leave. Kind of trail behind them or trail in front of them so they have somebody to protect them in case somebody wants to walk in, or maybe they're getting shot at by somebody. If not, you might have to stay your ground, prevent people from walking into all together, so maybe a soldier and you can prevent that from happening. Another thing too is walking out from point, although this is kind of dependent on the fact that they're all pushing you pool. If they have some people pool and some people point, you might just end up eating a lot of damage. If you're able to eat over here, it's fine because you get information, but you also peek a sniper sightline as soon as you peek towards the right side, so you're going to have to drop down. If not, you have to eat by this corner if you want to be safe, assuming that they won't chase you, so yeah, just be careful when you're leaving from this point, or leaving from this entrance of pool, because you will be mulched by people who are walking across or people standing by. Another thing that your team can do is walk onto their ruins if you guys are holding their pool. So here's how you do it. If your team is walking out, you're right with them. You're able to check over by this corner to see if anybody's there, check if anybody's ruins, and then you guys are starting to peek out. You might be able to get some stuff done there, but here's the most important part. If there's nobody playing aggressive, if there's nobody at all, you sit over here, your combo plays by their bridge, by their ruins, holding this area over here. And you're watching for people playing under bats, you're watching for people trying to bomb into you over here. If your team is watching that, then your entire job kind of then becomes watching the pack, watching for people over here. You might be able to play aggressive, you might not. Either way, watch out for spy. But generally, that's all there really is to it. Sometimes you might have to play over here if your team is playing a little bit passive. Like if they're playing in this general area, but you're not too aggressive. But even still, don't settle for less. Play up here if you can. Right? Don't sit in the back over there. Use that only as a way for you to kind of see what's going on. If you're in like a bad situation, and that's pretty much it. Like, if you have the space, use it. Don't sit over there when you guys can take the space, you know? But yeah, I won't talk about too many aggressive plays into their dance floor or bats, because realistically they should be calling you on the cross. If they aren't, then they're just kind of bad, and I don't want to teach you what to do against bad teams. I want to just teach you fundamental stuff. So, where do we go from here? Because pool is 90% of Heavy's game plan. The other 10% goes around for point, and we'll discuss about that now. As a Heavy, you generally don't want to be holding point, but if you know that they are not playing aggressive into pool, and you might be able to read into what they're doing, not because they're bad players, but because they don't want to send people pool, maybe they're playing passive, or maybe you just know that you're going to win regardless of whether or not they have pool. Here's something that you can try to do. If you're holding, one thing that you might try to play on is Obelisk. I call it Obby. So if you're playing over here, you're watching out for a sniper bat, you're watching out for people point, and you're just watching out for people on the left side. This sort of becomes a hub for you to be able to push wherever people are trying to peek from, or, if you're able to, try to walk into the area that people aren't looking at, so you can deal with the people over here. Sometimes, if they're playing passive, you being aggressive like this is just what your team needs to be, to win, right? It's the same idea with you playing aggressive from pool. And you could try to be aggressive over here. That's something that I neglected to mention. If you have pool, you can peek point, and that's what makes it powerful. You can choose to walk out, you can choose to play it slow, but you have the space. They don't. That's what matters when it comes to these sorts of fights, because if you have control of Bathhouse, you might be able to win more likely. But yeah, most of the time that you're playing point, it's for a push. Because I don't really want to see you do a lot of these things while you're holding, because, what, you look at people walking in to ruins, or from ruins to pool, and you're just unable to do anything about it. But if you're pushing, you have the head glitch that you can try to use, but it's not really that effective. It's only really effective against people standing on the point, which is why it's much better for offense, because they're standing on the point, they're reflecting stuff, they're playing on the right side of point, and then you're just bumbling about playing this head glitch right here, just trying to get something done. This is also exposed to people on dance floor bats, so sniper's going to have a really easy time for you. It even gets exposed onto ruins. And sometimes pool. If you're playing over here, you might eat a shot, maybe. So be careful about playing that head glitch. It's not an end-all be-all. It's a nice win condition if you're able to get it, but it's more contingent on the fact that they are holding aggressive. They're trying to walk into you. If they're not walking into you, this spot doesn't really get used all too much, or it can't really see a whole lot to use. So what do? If you're playing to push with your team, and you're playing point, one thing that I've seen teams do beforehand, and something that I really want to try you guys doing, Fist of Stealing, and this is assuming that they're not holding point, they're holding pool, right? If they're all holding pool, one thing that you can do is Fist of Steel, cap with your scout. As soon as that Uber is drawn out, that's when you can play all the way back, that's when you have to run away, or maybe that's when you can just stay. Maybe that head glitch then comes into play because you could shoot people walking out of pool, you can play aggressive, you can then maybe transition over to Obby, see if you can get something done, go over to the right side point, play on left side, walk left side. There's a couple of different things that you can do. But remember, when these things happen, make sure that you're aware of Sniper, make sure that you're aware of Spy, and just be aware of anybody who's able to get behind. Because if you are playing point, and you are not playing Ruins, and nobody's protecting Ruins, guess what they're going to do? They're going to start walking Ruins. And that's what you should also be doing. If you see that nobody's in pool, or nobody's fighting pool, playing aggressive gives you that information to then be able to jump all the way through here. But yeah, besides that, a heavy playing point for a mid-fight mostly just comes down to what side you want to walk on and what angle they're trying to walk from. If they're all walking pool, it kind of doesn't really matter as long as you don't get sniped, as long as you're not getting picked off by a spy. You're just playing aggressive into this entrance of pool so you prevent people from walking in. Besides that, you might be able to go all the way towards the left side, assuming that they're not fighting point, they're playing pool, and you're just playing all the way over here. Maybe you can play it wide, maybe you can then play it close onto point, maybe you could take an angle, but I don't know. That's not the only situation where people should be playing. Most of the time, the demo, the medic, the scout, the pyro, they're going to be playing on point itself. And that's when it becomes really challenging for you because you're not able to do a whole lot until they get space onto point and you're able to counter them getting that space. It would be much better if they're sitting over here than it would be for them sitting on their side. And that's where it kind of becomes hard for Heavy to do anything on point. Not saying he can't do anything at all, right? Like, maybe you might be able to play Obby and play the long game. But you're also taking buffs away from your team. You're taking away arrows. You're taking away time that people need to get healed. That's why it's so important for a Pudis to know the Ruins fight, to know pool fight. Because this is not disconnected from your team. This is just away from your team enough for you guys to get some sort of advantage that matters for the game. You can still get buffs if your team is trying to push point when you're playing passive Ruins. You can ask for a buff assuming that your team has the space when they're playing Obby, when they're trying to walk in. This is actually where most of these situations come in, because if you're thinking, hey, let's get a buff. Actually, wait, their demo's right here, or their demo's dead, and I can start walking onto point. That's when most of these situations happen. When you have downtime, and you're just playing this area for buffs, or maybe you're waiting for something to happen over here, but you're also trying to protect Ruins. You're also trying to push Ruins, you're trying to get something done here. So, yeah. That's pretty much it when it comes to playing Lakeside. There's one thing I forgot to mention. Playing the head glitch, walking in from under bats, this should be done with your combo. You should not be doing this alone. So yeah, most of the time, just walk all the way over here, try to play the angle close, get the head glitch as the first sign, or instead of doing all of that, you're just playing all the way over by the left side point, seeing if anybody's walking up before you start walking up. Or you walk up, people walk in, you kill them, that sort of stuff. The main end goal is for you to get behind their obby, trying to kill people over here, force people to run under bats, maybe they grab the pack, maybe they have to go under bridge. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Lakeside. Any questions?
I've got a question about pool.
What's
When
up?
you're saying, when it's even Ubers, you should sit in pool. I was talking to Rain about it, and Rain thinks it's not good because
Oh,
if they
you know,
Uber into you,
I completely forgot about that. Right. Sorry.
if they Uber into you guys,
Okay.
and you guys and like your players are here, your medic has to flash you, and your Uber just becomes worse, and so does your post.
Right. Here's the thing. If your team is playing in Ruins, or not Ruins, if your team is playing in pool, and it's evens, that's what they should be doing. That's what you should be playing towards. You should not be in that Uber at all. Maybe it might be the best idea for you to be hiding in this case, being ready for a spy to jump in so you're prepared for that. You're just preparing for anything to happen. If they start walking pool, that's when you kind of have to eat a flash because you are important in this hold. You can't be playing passive all the time. Your pyro's not going to be there all the time. So if you guys need to keep this space, you being Ubered over here, while it's not ideal because you can still be blasted back by a pyro, maybe that's what your team needs. When it comes to you playing alone with your soldier or another person, and then they're trying to walk into you, and it's even Ubers, that's when you need to start backing up. I completely forgot about that. Reyna's right about that in that case, because you do not want to be caught out. If they're going to try taking an Uber into you, you need to be prepared for that. So, yeah, I completely agree with what Rain says in that context of people not being in pool besides you and your soldier and maybe another person. If your team is there, you might be able to hide, but it also does depend on where they're pushing from and what you can do in that Uber, right? You're protecting this area, you're protecting point. If they start walking point, maybe it might be a better idea for you to play a different angle. Maybe it might be a better idea for you to play water in that case, so people don't see you. There's ideas. And maybe this idea isn't the best because as soon as people walk in, maybe your demo maybe your demo gets blasted all the way back, he can't protect this area, your pyro gets blasted all the way back, you have to eat a flash, or you just take damage while you're getting flashed. I can see that being bad in that case. So, be flexible. Don't sit in one spot at the same exact time. Every single time. Try finding different ways for you to get some sort of advantage, or for you to be safe. But remember, you're also trying to protect points, so don't play in a very passive spot where you can't defend. Just try to live. Alright?
Got it.
And what was another question?
I wasn't here for the mids part. Sorry, I got here late. It just rollout is just dependent on like what side your team wants you to be at. And
you know what? I
basically take
completely
control of
forgot
that.
about walking main as well. Okay. So we talked about walking cave
Okay.
when it comes to a mid fight. I do not talk about walking main because this is what teams used to do, but this is just a much slower rollout. You get whips, you're going all the way through here, and the only good part about this mid in particular is the flexibility. You can push point from left side, from right side. You can then try to walk over here, or you can instead walk all the way over here instead, try to take the angles like this. But honestly, I'd rather you get the information by you and your soldier just walking pool. Or walking from ruins into pool.
Because it's quicker and more like consistent.
Well, not even that quicker is more consistent. It's just that you're able to see into pool for longer.
Okay.
Of course, and here's the biggest part, if your team wants to rotate main, or roll out main, and your team wants to roll out ruins, you follow the beam. You follow where your combo goes. Because you want that 450, you want whips, a lot of your teammates want whips, and it makes it easier for things to happen. Also, I forgot about another thing. The mid-fights where your team just busts through pool. Yeah, you could be a part of those mid-fights, you're just walking in, helping your demo, helping everybody out. Your entire goal in this push is to deal with the people in ruins, force them to play out here, giving you space to play aggressive into them if they choose to play aggressive, or for your team to walk in and take point like so. It really does depend, but most of the time it's going to be you still holding pool, your team pushes point, or you all push into point after you're done dealing with the players in ruins.
Okay, so just use Bath as the staging area.
Pretty much, yeah. And even still, it's more of a game sense thing, but if you see that they are low, if you see that they are down, that's something you don't need to worry about all too much, right?
Okay.
Like, unless they send their combo to go into pool for whatever reason while you guys are currently fighting pool, which again is really, really weird. There's nothing wrong with you guys just walking in, just getting space, holding space. And at this point, it becomes less about heavy, it becomes more about your team and what you need to be looking out for. Because your team wants objective time. Your team wants to get space onto point so they can peek and prevent people from getting space.
Yeah.
And your job is to protect them, or you need to help them to maintain space outside of their control, or to maintain the space that they are trying to control.
Okay.
So in this case, if you're able to get something out of pool, if your team goes over here for a mid-fight, the thing is speed.
Yeah.
You want to be fast, you want to be efficient with everything. You don't want to waste time, because if you waste time, that's going to give them more opportunities. You want to be fast, kill whoever you need to kill. Hopefully not die, but if you die during a mid-fight, and a soldier and a heavy dies during a mid-fight, and your soldier's still alive, then it's fine, right?
Okay.
Just see if you can play your life if you can. But if you're going for something, if your team's going for something, it might be better for you to just relinquish it, just so you can get that big of an advantage.
So, like, bait within reason and don't give up space for free, because burning time isn't the same as wasting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about just being as efficient as you can. And some teams will do it differently. I'm only here to tell you that some plays work better than others because of circumstantial things outside of your control, or things that you could have put into your control that people just don't realize they can.
Decision making.
Game sense. And decision making. Any further questions?
Not particularly.
Alright, sweet. Well, yeah, that's the review. So I will catch you guys later. Sorry for
Have
the
a good one,
beginning.
Tuca.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry for the beginning of the video being as bad as it was. I'm still a little bit tired and a little bit sick, but happy Halloween. Whoa.
Happy Halloween.
Whoa.
Happy Halloween.